sound wasn't metallic, but it wasn't natural either, like it struck something smooth and hard. Then the air changed. A gust of wind hit me, strong and strange. It wasn't cold, but it burned against my skin like a dry heat from an oven. My ears were filled with ink-like noise, and before I could make sense of what was happening, everything went black. When I came to, I was no longer by the hill. I was driving down a dirt road on the other side of town. My truck somehow my heart went to the speedometer. I was doing 90 or willingly drive. My hands trembled as I gripped the wheel, steady myself, and tried to pee other, but nothing made. I couldn't have 30 minutes. But when I finally made it, asked to account for it, I'd lost that. I just telling myself in the morning. Later, at 9 a.m. sharp, a blind thing I'd ever. My bed before me. The next up to find my pillow streaked with blood from a nosebleed and a small, triangular mark on my forearm, like a clean incision that had already started to heal. At first, I brushed it off as a coincidence. Maybe I'd hit my head and not realized it. But when it happened again exactly 21 days later, and then again after that, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I went to the doctor, hoping for answers. They ran every test imaginable, blood work, you name it. But nothing was wrong. Neurologically, physiologically, I was perfectly healthy. Yet the episodes continued, without fail, every 21 days. For years, I endured the cycle of headaches, nosebleeds, and unexplained cuts. And though I've tried to convince myself otherwise, I can't shake the feeling that it all started with those lights. I've never told anyone about them, not even my spouse. They've seen the aftermath, the bloody pillows, the grogginess, but I couldn't bring myself to tell them about that night. How could I? It's happened to me. Still, deep down, I'm convinced those lights had something to do with it. Whatever they were, whatever happened that night set something. It stopped after 14 years, just as suddenly as it began. But if I ever see those lights again, I swear, I'll turn around and drive the other way as fast as I can. It's terrifying to think about, to experience something so profound, to have your life disrupted in a way, and to have no answers that I'll never know. Maybe some questions are best left unanswered. It was a quiet Sunday morning in 1961, deep in the hills of eastern Kentucky. I was 19 years old, just starting to figure out life. That day, I was driving along a winding mountain road to visit my girlfriend at her family's home in the countryside. A light rain was falling, but I didn't think much of it. The road twisted and turned as it hung, and I'd driven it plenty of it. But that day turned out to be very different. As I hitched, my tires lost grip on the wet pavement. The car hitched on one side of the road, then shot across to the other side. Time seemed to slow down as the car rolled down the hillside, turning over and over before finally crashing into the creek bed below, more than 100 feet down. When the car came to a stop, it was right side up, but completely wrecked. For a moment, I just sat there, dazed. Then, feeling the rush of adrenaline, I managed to climb out of the car. At first, I thought I was mostly okay, except for cuts on my arms from broken glass. But I soon realized I was in a tough spot. I was miles where hardly anyone passed by, especially on a Sunday morning when most folks were at church. Back then, there were no cell phones, no 911, and no easy way to call for help. I knew I had to climb back up to the road if I wanted anyone to find me. I grabbed a small tree to pull myself up. Something warm started running, reached up and touched my head, and that's when I realized how bad it was. Cut across the top of my head, from ear to ear.